I wanted to go over a few scale factor problems for some students who haven't quite gotten it yet. So I'm going to go back to a previous presentation from September 22nd and go through a couple of those examples. So this is the first example. And this is a common one where you have a miniature version of something and then the real-life version of something. So what's important to note here is that we're trying to determine what the scale is from the small version to the large version. So your job is to find out what do I multiply by to get from the small version to the large version. And the scale factor is going to be the same whether you multiply the height or you multiply the width. So again, the question is, how do I get from 15 to 1500? And we're talking by multiplication. And you could figure that out with a calculator, but some people might be able to realize that 15 times 100 gives me 1500. And then you want to see if that holds, because I also need to go from 3 to 300, but it does hold, because 3 times 100 gives me 300. This number 100, this is the scale factor. And that's what you're going to be figuring out in the following problems. So some key points about scale factors. They're useful when solving ratios that involve large numbers. Because you don't want to use tables for some of these. They will take you too long. We multiply both terms in a ratio by the scale factor. To find an equivalent ratio. So let's take a look at a quick example here. Miles can make 3 jump shots out of every 6 attempted. If he makes 36 jump shots during one practice, how many jump shots did he attempt in all? Alright, let's highlight some important pieces of this. He can make 3 jump shots out of every 6 attempted. So that's my original ratio right there. And then I have a target that I'm trying to reach and figure out what the scale factor is. And that target is 36 jump shots. Now, I'm also trying to match units. So I have jump shots as one unit and jump shots as the other unit. So I need to be able to set up my ratio to reflect that. So I'm going to have 3 jump shots for every 6 attempts. And I'm going to set up another ratio with 36, but I have to make sure it goes in the right place. I have to match the jump shots, so it's going to go on top. And the bottom is what I am looking for. So your job is to figure out 3 times what equals 36. Again, you can use a calculator. I know that 3 times 12 is 36. If I multiply the top, I have to multiply the bottom by that scale factor, and 6 times 12 is 72. So for 36 jump shots, he's going to make 72 attempts. And there's your answer. All right, let's take a look at another problem. Ashley can read 2 pages per 3 minutes. She wants to finish a chapter that is 20 pages long before she goes to sleep. How many minutes will it take her to finish reading that chapter? Again, I'm going to highlight my original ratio, highlight my target, and set up my ratio. So I have 2 pages over 3 minutes, and my target is 20 pages, so to match the first ratio it has to go on top. And this is what I'm trying to find. So my job is to figure out 2 times what equals 20. In this case, it's going to be 10. We know that 2 times 10 is 20. So it's my scale factor, so I multiply the top and the bottom, and that gives me 30 minutes. And there's my answer. And I want to look at this one extra problem because it's just a little bit different. There are 102 basketballs in one gym locker, and there are 3 basketballs for every 6 basketballs in the locker. How many basketballs are in the locker? This one's a little tricky because my target ratio is listed second. I'm sorry, my original ratio is listed second, and my target ratio is first. So usually it's the smaller numbers that are your original ratio. You want to make sure that you know what you're starting with and what your target is. So let's set up the ratio. We have 3 baseballs. I'm going to shorten that, for every 6 basketballs. And our target is 102 baseballs, so it has to go on top to match the original ratio. And again, this is what I'm trying to find. My job is to figure out what is 3 times what gives me 102. And well, I don't know that off the top of my head, so I may have to use a calculator and do 102 divided by 3. And when I do that, that gives me 34. So I know my scale factor is 34. Of course, what I do to the top, I do to the bottom. I have to multiply 6 times 34. 34. And 6 times 34 is 204 basketballs. So I hope going over a couple of these problems will help you understand scale factors better. Let me know if you have any questions.